Hi everyone, it's me and Wishbone in our South Florida home preparing to do some wall work. And we're plastering today using something called hot mud. It's in powder form here, so I have to mix it up with the water. It's actually 80 degrees inside with no crosswind in this room. And it's very hot and humid and muggy. Now, here's the deal. Hot mud is different than regular wall compound because it sets up very fast. And there are some advantages to this. Okay. The first being you don't have to wait all day for it to dry if you need to move forward and sand it down or paint it. Like, you know, if you're on a job site, you don't have to go back the next day, which could cost time and money. This hot mud was given to me by this friend of mine who was a professional contractor, and he thought I would like it. He's since died. He actually drowned in a rip current within the last couple of months, so I'm adjusting to that. But his legacy will live on in the labor of love and the sweat and tears as I continue to complete this room. This is my woman cave, and I'll give you a look around in a minute once I mix this up, because it'll take a little time to, dare I say, activate. It kind of thickens up, you could say, so you mix it a little wet on the loose side. Now, once the stuff starts hardening, it has an accelerated rate it starts to dry at, where it goes really, really fast. And within a short period, it can go from being like a smooth kind of paste to becoming more like a cement. And I noticed this hot cement is different than regular wall compound because it's much harder. So when it dries, if you stick your fingernail in it, you'll feel the difference in how rigid and strong it is. Another advantage of using the hot mud is when you have to apply a whole bunch at once, because what happens with regular wall compound, if you apply too much at once, it starts to slump and droop down before it can dry. Another thing is that takes a long time to dry, and often cracking happens. And you won't have that problem with this hot mud. They have different kinds you can buy that set up in different times, like whether it's 10 minutes or 90 minutes. I found the 10-minute wall mud he first gave me to try to be too fast acting, and I felt pressure. In fact, I ended up wasting a bunch because it set up in my bucket before I could use it. And my friend also warned me that when you clean out your tray or your bucket, to get all of it out, because if there's any tiny bit left, it works as a catalyst for the next batch you mix and accelerates the hardening and drying time. So he did emphasize really clean your equipment after each use with this. Okay, this is looking kind of nice. We have a paste. It's on the loose side. But this will harden up in a few minutes, ready to apply. So let me give it just kind of one last little mix around, and then I'll give you a look around the room. Here's a string that could become annoying. Oh wait, it's my hair! actually open the door, let the pup out for a little nature break. Okay. What a difference this room would be if there was a window on the opposing side, which there's not, just to get a cross breeze. And this is the west here, which we don't get a lot of wind out of the west in my area. Okay, so let's take a look around at what we have here. I have built 2 closets with the arched top, and this will house the washer and dryer. This is going to house basically like my yard tools, rakes, shovels, things like that. Let me actually close this door a bit for a moment. I built the walls with the 2x4s on the thin side, so I would have more room, and if I had turned it the other way, it would have bulked up, and I needed 2 feet from wall to wall here so I could actually fit some of the containers I wanted, and it's in such close proximity to the door. I wanted a little breathing room, but you can see the space is quite tight. Now, the hot mud I used to create this appearance of wood molding crowning the top of my door, which harkens back to historical craftsman style homes I really loved when I was living out in California, where I was born. And I created this by sculpting it. And had I used the regular wall compound, like that typically comes in these buckets, I could do it, but it takes longer because you have to build it up in layers and allow things to dry so they don't slump or crack. Here's Wishbone's little bell. She rings to go outside, but it's weird. It never makes the ringing sound in the videos. It's like the frequency, just the camera doesn't hear it. And when I'm talking and the bell's ringing, it warbles the voice sometimes in the video. It's weird. Okay, so here's what we have. And what we have here, okay, we have a wall that this actually used to be a carport that was enclosed. And I'm making it an interior room. This was a window. This was a window which became a sunken shelf. And they took out the bottom part of the window here and made a door. Okay, so the wood here was actually missing at the bottom. There was a chunk out right here. So I was able to use the hot mud to fill that. And that worked very well. Again, you could do it with regular wall compound, but you just have to be patient and do it in more layers. But the nice thing about this hot mud is that it is harder. So if you have a surface that might need to take a beating or some abuse or something like that, this might be a good choice. Okay, this could set up a little more. The trowel I like to use to apply this, I actually modified by cutting and smoothing out the corners. I rounded them, they were very sharp, and I find what happens, as with anyone that does wall work, is when you're spreading the mud on, it would always leave these like little sharp, rigid edges sticking up on the ends. And by rounding these out, I'm able to get a lot more smoothness. I basically took heavy duty, they're like sheet metal shears, and I cut the corners off. Amazingly, I was able to cut this metal. And then I simply filed it down by going on the cement like that. Nothing fancy. And then I ended up with this, and it is my favorite one to work with now. for all of my wall work. Now, as this is setting up for a few more minutes, let's take an adventure into the bathroom. And to let you know, I am going off of the utility grid to be self-sustaining. I'm finishing my woman cave to prepare to sell my home. And, hi, here I am. Okay, the bathroom, which I remodeled and tiled. I also did the plumbing and electrical. But what I want to show you is this faux fish fossil I etched into the wall. And I wanted something realistic. And if you were to touch this, you would find it's embossed. That was an experiment that went very well. And I would like to play around more with that. I also sculpted this nautilus above the door with wall compound, believe it or not, and I adhered it to the wall with wall compound as well. So it's wall compound on wall compound on wall compound. Also, here's a sunken shelf I made, and I wanted an Adobe-like effect. As you can see, I have kind of more of a soft, rounded corner. I also built these cabinets myself. Here's an overall look at the bathroom, complete with this mosaic I inset into the floor, which is my pride and joy on top of the faux fish fossil. Also, the keystone effect I did on the and around the window, creating a mantle-like effect. I don't know if this is showing up in the video because of the backlight. But yeah, also, I decided not to use molding on my door. And I taped the seams where the 2x4 met up with the walls and got this Adobe effect. I also find it creates the illusion of greater space when the eye doesn't stop at contrasting colors like, let's say, a wood frame or something like that. So this creates this monochromatic flow of movement. And my light I installed with a dimmer switch. My friend that gave me the wall compound helped me install the ceiling, which was an unorthodox treatment using wall panel, and people were very much questioning that. But as you can see, it turned out very nice, and now it actually gets the wow factor, and it has the look of whitewashed beechwood. Wall compounds. Okay, here are some other nooks I built into the wall. I also widened this wall. It was actually a tiny door here, and I took the other part back. I also built this closet reminiscent of what you're seeing in my woman cave with the an arched valance, and I put in this pass-through window with the arch as well, and built the bar here. It's like a butler's pantry. I also cut down all the marble sills, like here on the window sills, and I learned how to get curves with a straight cutting saw by using it like a grinder. Okay, so let's go back out to the woman cave, check on our hot mud, and I'll have to get going on applying this. So let's see where we're at here. The first time I used this, it was such a ridiculous sloppy mess because I mixed it too wet and it was loose and dripping all over the place. But despite that, once it began to set up and it had that accelerated lightning fast speed I told you about, I wasted like I did a 5-gallon bucket and it had about 20% full of the hot mud, and it was like solid cement in there. Like you could have put your enemy's feet in there and then just dropped them off as an anchor to become some reef one day, you know, like mafia style. I ended up having to throw the whole thing away and couldn't get it out. And didn't care about the bucket enough to chisel it out. Let me check on Miss Wishbone, the Adorabella. She does go on neighborhood adventures, and I don't mind that, but she's been stealing things and bringing them back home. So, let me just give her a holler. Neighbors who complained because she was stealing his socks, and it's not okay, but I don't have a fenced yard and I can't spend as much time outside as she would enjoy, and I feel guilty if she's inside all the time. Come on, keep it coming. She mites pretty well, but I have to tell her a few times sometimes, and her vocabulary is becoming more extensive. Like, 3 claps means come, that means come, and then come barely means come to her. You're almost here, come on. See, nice doesn't always work. They're like kids, and bitch, mean voice works. I hate that, but it's just how it is. And with training different dogs, I've seen this. And you'll see it in people. Nice doesn't always work. Okay, bitch works. Hey, that's how it is. Okay, so, let's see here. Oh, to point out, on my closets I built, I also did rounded corners. I wanted more of that kind of Adobe effect, so and the way I cut my arch is with a sheetrock